Alright, this video is for Jeff Quick. I just went and made a time or a little rip on the country road by my house. So I just pulled up the Wago 3, click on communications, download data from Wago 3. This thing came up. Click on OK. And I'm just going to show you what my data logging looks like. Make sure it's the same as yours, you know what I mean? So, yeah. It's my ZX12. It's my voltmeter, whatever. Alright. Excuse me. So what I have my Wago 3 on a switch that I can turn it on or off. This is the vertical line. So if you drag it over to where I turn my data logging on, it's right there. And I have my trace 1, which is the RPM, which is the red line, and my trace 2, which is gasoline air fuel ratio, which is the green line, right here. So click on zoom in all the way. Click on that little box there, and you can actually see what I did when I did it. Now remember, the red line is my RPM and the green line is my air fuel ratio. So, okay, so right there is where I got on it, and you can switch over. You can change the red line to analog input, which is your throttle position. So it changes this scaling here from 100 down to 0. Okay. So you can see right here, down here I was just, 0 to 5% or whatever, and then I launched the bike on the street. I can't get to 100% throttle real fast because I spin. So if you click here, hold on, let's go back to RPM. Click. Yeah, so there's the tracer. There it is. If you grab this and you can scroll back and forth, this is what it's saying at that particular time. Up in the left hand corner, that's your RPM or your throttle position, depending on what you have selected. I have selected RPM, so that's my RPM selected. So, and then right here is where I launched the bike. So my RPMs went up to about 4,400, and then it dropped down to about 29 to about 3 grand, and then it went up. Okay, so I'm going to click back over to analog input to show you where I was at 100% throttle. Let's grab this and move it over a little bit so you can see everything. So right here, I'm in the 100% throttle range. 98, 97, 96, 91. That's 100% throttle range, okay? So click here, and you can see that's my whole run that I did. Come back over to here, to the RPM, and you can see right here is the top of first gear, and then I shifted down into second. This is top of second, shift down into third, boom. Another shift, another shift, another shift, and then I took it to about 11,000-ish. 10.7, 10.699, and then I let off the gas. you click back on analog input, you can see right where I left the tracer, where the dotted line was right here. And that's where I let go of the throttle, went back down to 0% throttle. Okay, so, and I'll zoom back out because I made 2 or 3 passes, or test hits rather, on the street. There's another one. There's another one. Okay. So, what I'm going to do with that information, click there, and then you can click on View, Focus, and then you click on View AFR Table. Okay, so now this came up. So what I do is you click on Filter Unstable Data, click on 5, and I'm looking at the 100% throttle range again. Okay, 12.8. Refresh table. So now what it's saying, and I'm not worried about all this because that doesn't need 12.8. What I'm worried about is 100% throttle, and I'll highlight it for you. Oh, wait a minute. Get out of there. What? Man. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. That way it's a little bit easier to look at. So that goes from 9,000 to 11,000. What that says, that's my air-fuel ratio in the 100% throttle position while I'm riding, or while I'm racing. So if I go up to fuel pressure, or fuel percent correction display, go back over, still at 12.8, refresh table, come down here, it tells me to take fuel away here, here, and here. Now because it's not red or blue, I'm not really too concerned about it. That means that my 100% throttle is pretty close to that position. Now, keep in mind, 12.8 at 0% throttle. I have big numbers at 9,000 and 10,000, which I'm not too concerned about that because that's when I let off the gas and the air-fuel ratio spikes or drops way down when I let off the gas right here. Okay? So that's how I would tune for racing, is here, from 5,000 all the way up to redline. For return road, let's go back to 13.2 for cruising, for coming back the return road. We're still at filter unusable data, fuel percent correction display, 5 and 13.2. Now this data right here, like I said, I'm not worried about this because I have this already set up and this is all good at 12.8. This is the cruising ranges right here. 2% throttle to 10% throttle at 13.2, lower RPMs, okay? So this 8 right here, and I'm not worried about 0% because you're not on the throttle. That's deceleration coming back down. That it doesn't read correctly because it's sucking air in through the back of the exhaust. It's actually creating a vacuum in your exhaust pipe. So I'm not worried about 0% throttle. So what I would do here is I would add 4 and 3. I would add 4 at 5% at 3,000 RPM, and I would add 3 at 3500 at 5000 RPM, or at 5% throttle, excuse me. And then go down here, and I would take fuel away, probably 3 or 4 at 5000 at 5% throttle. Okay, so easiest way to do that is I grab the screen and I bring it in. Okay, I bring it all the way in to what I'm looking at. Make that screen as little but still usable. So I go here, double click on Power Commander 5, brings it up. It'll be different, but it'll be similar to what you have on yours. And I have my Power Commander hooked up to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the map, bring up the fuel trim, and this is my table. Okay? So I'm going to bring this over here so I can still see this. Yeah, I'm only worried about 5%, whatever. So I'll go here. Okay? So what it's telling me is that 2% throttle at 3000 RPM. So we'll go 2% throttle at 3000 RPM. It's telling me to add 8. So I'm going to add 4 just because to bear on the safe side, whatever. So 9 plus 4 is 13. And then if you notice, the next one is 3500. The next one for me is 3250. So I'm just going to do the same amount that I added to here. So -2 plus 4 is going to be a +2. Then at 3500, it tells me to add 4. So I'm going to add 2. -3. I'll go down and I'll add 2, -3. Okay. Then at 5% throttle, at 3000 RPM, it tells me to add 9. So I'm going to add 4, just because I'm safe like that. I'm going to add 4. Then at 3500, it tells me 7. I'm going to add 3. 3500, 5% throttle, I'm going to add 3. And then at 3750, I'm going to add 3 also. Goes to -7. Okay. So that's that. Now, I know you were concerned about yours with the jumping of high difference in numbers. If you can see, I'm going to blow my map up actually real quick so you can get a closer look at the different numbers that I have on mine. I do have quite a big jump in numbers, okay? Some go up, some go down, but at 100% throttle, and I'm just going to click on, sorry it's so shaky, I'm going to click on 6,000, okay? Whatever. 100% throttle, 6,000 RPM. This is what mine looks like. Okay, now, remember how I told you that you want to add fuel right at the last little bit for your shift? That's what that is right there, that 4, the 114. That's the adding of the fuel right at the last part of your shift. So it gets real fat, real fat, real fat, and it starts leaning out. Boom, and I add fuel right at the very bottom, which is normal, okay? Which is what I do, personal preference, whatever. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is the changes that I made, a little bit of changes, no big deal. I'm just going to send the map into my Power Commander 5, which it's in there now. I'm going to save that map, and I'm just going to put it as Wago 3 Street Pass 831, okay? Okay, that's how I log mine. As you can see, I've done a couple of them with the Wago 3 tunes. So Wago 3 Street Pass 831. Oh, I actually use them as Street Tune on mine, so I'm going to put it as Tune instead. Okay. So save it, and it's done. So now that map that I just changed and altered is now in my Power Commander 5, and it's saved on my laptop just in case I mess something up or I overshot it or something, you know what I mean? So that's that. So now, like I said, this is 13.2, 100% throttle at 10,000 and 10,500. It says that I'm too rich. I'm not worried about that because the air-fuel ratio is set at 13.2. If I go back to 12.8 and I refresh, comes up with that, saying that I'm a little bit too lean, or I'm a little bit too rich, and it's telling me to take a little bit of fuel out. I'm not worried about a negative threes or negative ones because it's not super high in the numbers, okay? These numbers here, keep in mind, 12.8. I'm not worried about these numbers either in the 0% throttle. Doesn't matter. That's decel. Those numbers are wrong for the most part anyway. What you do want to look at, we'll go back to 13.2. Nah, fuck it, we'll keep it at 12.8. Is your idle position, okay? I like my idle a little bit rich just because the motor that I have. So when you're idling, you're about right here. 0% throttle, about 1500 RPM or so, right? So what that's saying is that I'm at 12.8. I'll click up here with the air-fuel ratio display, refresh table. Okay. So what it's saying now is that at 0% throttle, at idle, my bike idles at about 12.6, 13, you know, that's where my bike idles, right here, okay? And it doesn't matter what your bike actually idles at for RPM, I want it to be about 12.8-ish, okay? So that's why I have it right here. That's why I have that tuned. So, yeah. So this is the numbers that my bike is, or the Wago 3 is telling me that my bike's running at the higher RPMs, 9,000 to 11,000. It's telling me that my bike is 12.8, 12.4, 12.6, 12.8, 12.7, okay? So it's telling me that's what it's at. But yeah, that's what I got, man. Just as simple as that. So what I do now, since I made all the Power Commander adjustments and I changed everything around and did everything, I don't want this data to be on here anymore for the next time I race. So communications, clear Wago port data buffer. Click OK. Gone. Okay. So now there's no more information recorded on the data, or on the Wago 3. Cool. All done. Now it's time to go make another pass. Do it all over. Hope this helps, man. Later.